Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive.
Let's do it.
Awesome. Today we're tackling a topic that I think a lot of us can relate to, managing cross-generational teams.
Yeah, definitely. It's something that, pretty much every workplace is dealing with these days.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And to help us navigate this, we've got this really cool guide. It's all about understanding and managing those generational differences. I think you'll find it super helpful whether you're, leading a team or you're part of one.
Absolutely. And what's great about this guide is that it's not just theory, it's full of practical advice.
Right. So let's jump right in. One of the first things that really stood out to me in this guide was the emphasis on leveraging the different strengths that each generation brings to the table.
Yeah. And that's a big one. So often we hear about the challenges of generational differences, right? But this guide flips the script and encourages us to view those differences as assets. Totally. So instead of focusing on the potential conflicts, it's about recognizing and appreciating, the unique skills and experiences each generation has.
Exactly. And that really resonated with me. For example, younger generations like Gen Z and millennials, they've grown up with technology. They're digital natives.
Right.
So they bring this incredible tech fluency to the workplace.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And then you have older generations like baby boomers and Gen X who have decades of experience. They've seen it all.
Yeah, so they bring that institutional knowledge, those long-term relationships. They've navigated all sorts of workplace dynamics.
You got it. And when you combine those strengths, when you create a team that can leverage both the tech savviness of the younger generation and the wisdom and experience of the older generation, well, that's where the magic happens.
Seriously, I've seen that firsthand. I mean, when you have different perspectives and approaches working together, it just leads to better problem solving, more innovation. The whole team benefits.
Couldn't agree more. And speaking of teamwork, the guide really stresses the importance of open communication. And this is crucial, especially when you're dealing with generational differences, because communication styles can vary so much.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's something I've definitely noticed.
Right, like a younger team member might be totally comfortable sending a quick instant message or using emojis in their emails, while a more senior colleague might prefer a formal phone call or a face-to-face meeting.
Right, right. And if you're not aware of those preferences, or if you don't make an effort to bridge those communication gaps, it can easily lead to misunderstandings or, even conflict.
Exactly. The guide actually suggests some really helpful strategies for this, like being mindful of your audience when you're communicating and being open to different communication styles, even if they're not your personal preference.
That's so important, yeah. And it's about creating a workplace culture where everyone feels comfortable communicating in a way that works for them.
Absolutely. And another key point the guide makes is the need for flexible leadership styles.
That's interesting. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Sure. So different generations often have different expectations from their leaders. Like younger generations tend to value mentorship and frequent feedback. They want to know how they're doing, where they can improve, and they want opportunities to grow and develop their skills.
Okay.
But for someone with more experience, someone who's been in the workforce for a while, they might be looking for more autonomy. They want to be trusted to do their job well, and they value recognition for their achievements.
That makes a lot of sense, yeah. So it's about adapting your leadership approach to meet the needs of each individual, not just using a one-size-fits-all approach.
Exactly. You got it. And the guide gives some really practical tips for this, like making time for regular one-on-one meetings with younger employees to provide that feedback and guidance, while also giving more experienced team members the space and freedom to work independently.
I like that. That makes sense.
Right. And publicly acknowledging the achievements of more seasoned employees is important too. It shows them that their contributions are valued.
Yeah, and I love how the guide highlights the idea of encouraging mentorship between experienced and newer employees.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
And it really is a win-win situation for everyone involved.
Totally right. The
Right.
newer employee gets the benefit of that experience and guidance. And the mentor, they get to share their knowledge, their expertise, and they might even learn something new from their mentee.
You got it. It's a fantastic way to build relationships and create a more connected and supportive work environment.
And it also helps to break down those generational barriers and foster a sense of community across the different age groups.
For sure. And finally, and this is something that the guide really emphasizes, is the importance of respecting differences.
Okay, so we're not just talking about age here.
Right. We're talking about work styles, motivations, communication preferences, all of it.
Yeah, because everyone's different. Everyone has their own way of working, their own priorities, and recognizing and respecting those differences is essential for creating a truly inclusive and effective team.
Absolutely. The guide gives this great example of a younger employee who values flexibility and prefers to work remotely, while a more senior employee might thrive in a traditional office setting and appreciate the structure of a 9 to 5 workday.
Yeah, and both of those perspectives are valid.
Right.
It's about finding ways to accommodate those differences and create an environment where everyone feels valued and respected.
Absolutely. And that's what it's all about. Creating a workplace where everyone can bring their best selves to work and contribute their unique talents and perspectives.
So, wow, this has been a really insightful deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground, and I think we've all gained some valuable insights from this guide on managing cross-generational teams.
Totally. And the key takeaway here is this. Managing a cross-generational team is not about trying to erase those generational differences. It's about understanding them, respecting them, and leveraging them as strengths.
Absolutely. And with that in mind, I'd like to leave you with a question to ponder. How can you apply these insights to create a more inclusive, collaborative, and ultimately more successful team environment, regardless of the generation your colleagues belong to?
Great question. Think about it, and we'll see you next time for another deep dive.
Until then, bye everyone.